Now that I've gotten that part out of the way,
We're having a lot of technical
it
difficulties.
is like a Monday on a Saturday for some reason. All right, getting to our notes. Okay, Danielle, you like Danielle, not Danny, correct?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just,
And
with my Instagram name, it just rhymes. It flows better to say Danny G in a G versus
yeah,
Yeah,
Danielle
that does
G.
have
So,
words.
but I end up screwing myself, and people will call me
And is
Yeah.
it Guevara or Guevara? How do you say your last name?
Guevara.
Guevara.
Cool.
Danielle Guevara. Okay, we're going to give you a little intro and then we will welcome you to the podcast and get started.
Okay.
Today, we are sitting down with Danielle Guevara, former amateur boxer, jiu-jitsu athlete, and now MMA referee and judge. She's been inside the ring, on the mats, and now she's the one making the calls, which means she's seen combat sports from literally every angle: fighter, competitor, and authority. Danielle, welcome to Chokeholds and Chill.
Yay!
No, thank you for having me. I'm excited.
Yes, we appreciate you. So we would like to start off just kind of getting a little bit of background, where you grew up, what kind of stuff you're into, what drew you into combat sports.
Yeah, so I'm originally from Indiana, which is how actually I met AJ and got started with role model camp way back in my white belt days. Um, but now I live in Houston, Texas, and I've been doing martial arts my whole life. I started off in Taekwondo when I was 9. Um, Trained that for quite a few years, and the school that I trained at was there. In order to get a black belt, you had to actually cross train in other martial arts, which I think is really great. So you had to
Cool.
get so you had to get a certain amount of hours of grappling in, and then a certain amount of hours in some kind of like weapons, like JKD, Kali, something like that.
Nice.
So that was how I got my my first exposure to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Um, and so then when I moved down to Texas, I debated whether I was going to continue with Taekwondo and checked out a couple schools, but nothing seemed to, you know, suit what I was looking for. So I said, you know what, let me try something else. And so went to Texas Third Coast MMA, which is where I still train out of, and it's where I got my black belt from. And so joined them, and the rest is history. Here I am.
Nice.
Awesome.
Nice.
So when was it that you moved from Indiana to Texas?
I've been down here for about 13 years.
13 years.
Oh,
Nice.
gosh.
Okay.
hmm
So all in all, since you were, I'm gonna be like, yeah, how old are you now? I'm like, how many years overall? You don't have to answer that.
Well, because since I started when I was 9, I could technically be like, oh, I've been doing martial arts for over 20 years, and
Very
that'll make me
nice.
sound
Amazing.
older than I am.
Well, I know that we're like super excited to meet you because we're going to be at the role model camp,
Yes.
and we are so excited. So yeah, let's get into it a little bit more with
Yeah.
your boxing experience. Should we start there?
Sure.
All right.
Yeah, let's go ahead and start with boxing. How did you get started in there? And then were you looking to be competitive or was there just something about learning to box that sounded good to you?
Yeah, so I got started in boxing at the gym I'm at now. How I kind of got into it was kind of in the back of my mind, I wanted to compete. I wanted to have an MMA fight at some point. Um, but before I could do that, needed the stand-up experience. So
Right.
that's kind of how I got into boxing. And my professor, was definitely like, well, hey, you've competed in jiu-jitsu. Let's have you compete in boxing as well, and then we'll merge the two, and you can have and you can do an MMA fight. So that's how I got started into boxing, and so had a few fights there. And then eventually, I did do one MMA fight. But for me, ultimately, I was never looking to go pro or anything like that. I enjoy coaching and teaching, and it's very beneficial to be able to tell your fighters, I've been where you've been. I know what you're going through. I've
Right.
experienced, weight cutting and the grind of it. So that was kind of my main goal, was to be able to tell others I've been where you've been.
Yeah. What was your first fight experience like? Because I would be shitting my pants.
Uh, it is. It's definitely. I mean, it's kind of a blur. For so like when I think back to my MMA fight, honestly, like I kind of just remember bits and pieces. I mean, I made it to the decision and everything, went all the way through, but um, the adrenaline is it'll affect your memory, that's for sure. And then for boxing, they're very for amateur boxing, especially your first few fights, they're only minute rounds. So
Oh
it's
wow.
like a sprint. So it's just
Wow.
yeah, it's just
As
like a
much
minute
as you
sprint
can.
basically. Yeah.
Holy
So,
cow. What did that teach you about yourself? Is there anything that surprised you?
um, I don't have anything surprising, but I guess it was just more of, the I guess resilience, being able to push through. Because, and I know for me, especially once I said out loud, like I want to fight, like there was no for me personally, there was no coming back from that.
Right.
Sometimes we've seen where people will say they want to fight and then they don't make it through a fight camp, or sometimes we even hear about fighters where they don't even make that walk. Like they'll go through
Yeah.
everything and then their name's getting called and they won't go out there.
Mm.
And for me personally, I was like, okay, that's if once I say it, there's no going back. We're following through. Um, so yeah.
Ah, I'm like so nervous for you because like the thought of getting punched in the face, I only want to do it if it's I'm punching and nobody's hitting me back.
Surprisingly, a lot of the so every we don't get I don't get too many women in the boxing class. We actually have a decent amount in our kickboxing, but in boxing, and I find that for at least the women in particular, they seem to actually have a harder time punching somebody than getting
Mm,
punched.
Mm-hmm.
It's overcoming that like that niceness,
yeah.
and they're like, I don't want to hurt you. Like a lot of times they, them getting punched isn't as big of a deal as punching someone else.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can see that. I feel like that's one of my biggest struggles with some of my like female students is like I'm gonna draw the animal out of you. Like it's
Yes.
okay for you to
Yeah,
take up space and go hard and do your thing. So
yeah.
that is
But
cool.
I believe that I actually believe that everyone should do some striking. I think especially from a self-defense aspect.
Yeah.
I mean, jiu-jitsu is great for self-defense, but like I personally have been in a situation where I was a couple years ago I was robbed and assaulted, and the guy
Oh.
punched me in the face.
Oh, of
But
course you
because I
did.
had fought, yeah, but because I
Oh,
had fought and I had been punched in the face a bunch before, it really actually didn't phase me the way it might phase others. So
yeah.
I'm a big proponent of if you want to train for self-defense, like you should include some striking as well.
Mm-hmm.
I would agree with that. I think that makes a lot of sense. What is something that people romanticize about boxing that's not actually like glamorous? It just looks pretty.
Um, I think I think people will really underestimate like hitting a bag and hitting pads and then translating that to actual sparring.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah.
there's a lot of people where you will see them on the bag, on the pads, and they look amazing. Very sharp, crisp technique, but things again, once you get hit, things change, and the technique can go out the window really quick.
Right.
Yeah. So at what point so did you start boxing before you started with jujitsu or had you been training jujitsu a little bit prior to this?
I have been training jujitsu prior.
Okay, so when you started boxing, how much jujitsu experience did you have?
I think I think I was around blue belt
Okay.
when I
Nice.
started boxing. Yeah,
Awesome.
so a
Okay.
couple years in. Yeah.
So how is that like transition or how did you balance those two disciplines? What was your schedule like?
Yeah, so fortunately it worked out really well class wise. So for us, boxing fell on it fell on the days or times like it didn't conflict with our jujitsu schedule. So
Mhm.
I mean I was training 5, 6 days a week.
Hmm.
But it was usually like a couple days a week for boxing and then a few days a week
Hmm.
for jujitsu.
Okay.
So I felt like
Okay.
I was able to balance it pretty well.
Yeah.
That sounds pretty good. I
Do
could
you,
do that.
what do you feel like was harder to learn and get used to, like getting smashed or getting punched?
Getting punched.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, because there's a more emotional response that can happen when you get hit in the face, or also
Mhm.
like I mean, if you get punched in the nose, even if it's not hard, the
Mm,
your eyes will naturally tear up,
Yeah.
and then sometimes you can just naturally get more emotional because your eyes are, it's like you're crying, but you're kind of like, why am I crying?
right.
Mhm.
It's just
It's just a,
happening
it's
and you
just a
don't know why.
response. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So having to overcome that.
That's crazy. Do you think that your boxing gave you an edge in your MMA or was that before?
No, so MMA came after boxing,
Okay.
so
Okay.
definitely the boxing helped with that.
Great.
Yes, absolutely. Mhm.
So what do you feel like the most humbling of all of those have been? Like jujitsu, boxing, or MMA style?
Ooh, good question. Um, Honestly, probably jujitsu.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, I think probably just now more because I, I do train a lot more jujitsu than anything else
Mm-hmm.
at this point. So, a lot more opportunities to get humbled.
Yeah. Yeah.
You get getting tapped every day.
Yes. What can people expect from you at the role models camp? Are you going to be teaching an MMA style of grappling or something more jujitsu focused?
Yeah, so actually it'll be way jujitsu focused, and I believe I'll be actually be doing gi. So I
Oh,
primarily do
nice.
gi now. I know I joke that no gi is a young man's game. So I like to do more more gi versus no gi nowadays.
Oh my
So
gosh.
yeah, I'll
And
do a
I'm
gi
like the
based session.
opposite. I'm like getting older and I'm like, God, I fucking hate the gi. I cannot do this anymore.
I think because our no-gi class is very competition oriented,
Oh
and a lot
yeah,
of our like
no.
young MMA guys are in that class, and
No.
so
That
I'm
is a
like,
young man's sport.
yes.
So what is the ratio to you like training versus teaching these days?
For me, it's mostly training.
Mm-hmm.
But like my professor will, like help, like I'll either be the uke for the class, or once in a while, hey, can you walk around and help out? Or so, if we have somebody new come in, I'm one of the black belts that, will work with the new person and,
Mm-hmm.
do the introductions and things like that. So.
Mm-hmm. And then you throw in on top of that like the refereeing stuff. So when did you start
Mhm.
with refereeing?
Yeah, so that I started about 4 years ago.
Okay. And how
Mhm.
long have you been a black belt now?
I've been a black belt coming up on 2 years.
Okay, cool. So you were a brown belt when you started reffing.
Hmm.
Okay,
Hmm.
awesome. Yeah, so tell me a little bit about how you got into that.
Yes, actually, that was my professor that got me in. He's also an official.
Okay.
Uh, and so we were just having a conversation one day, and he was like, "Have you ever considered officiating?" And thought about it. And so he took me under his wing, and brought me in, and has been a great mentor through all this as well.
Yeah, and are you refereeing like all different combat sports or are you just specifically doing jujitsu?
So I referee primarily MMA.
Okay.
Once in a while, I will do kickboxing,
Okay.
but it's pretty much for me all MMA,
Yeah.
both amateur and pros.
Awesome. Oh, that must be so fun.
It, it is. It's very intense,
Yeah, and
but it's a good time.
I'm assuming like that's given you different opportunities to travel and stuff.
Yeah, I mostly travel. I haven't gotten a chance to travel outside of Texas yet, but I'm very fortunate. My commission keeps me busy. I get a
Mhm.
lot of work here, and so I do get to travel all around the state.
Yeah, Texas is kind of like a hot spot for
Mhm.
fighting sports.
Yes. Yep.
So how is it going from like being the one fighting to being the one in charge of the rules and keeping everybody, in line and everything? What like how is that?
I mean, it's very different. You see fights from a very different lens
Mhm.
now. Um, yeah, and it's one of those where it opened my eyes a lot, and one of my things too is that I hope to open up other people's eyes because I think there's so much more to it than I think the general public realizes that
Mhm.
officials are looking for, that all these things that we have to take into consideration during fights, and in the end, a lot of it is split second decisions too.
Right.
So
Yeah, and I know that, I mean, obviously referees and stuff, they get shit on a lot. And
Oh
it's
man,
like
yeah.
yeah.
it can't be like the most fun job at all times, but it's also like sick you get front row seats to some pretty great fights.
Yeah.
So,
Yes, yeah. I like to say, I have the best seat in the house.
yeah. What do you think the hardest part about refereeing is?
Yeah, I mean it is the fact that you are making those split second decisions,
Mhm.
and there's so much weighing. I mean, the fighters, their safety's in your hands, their
Right.
careers potentially are in your hands as well.
Mhm. Mhm.
So there's a lot weighing on the decisions that you make.
Right.
It just
So
seems so
it's a
heavy.
huge responsibility.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, because I mean, no matter what, not everybody is going to be happy, unfortunately. So how else has that like changed your perspective? Like when you compete, do you feel like give the referees and stuff a lot more grace than maybe you used to as a younger
Good
competitor?
question.
Yeah, and to be honest, and I really don't compete much anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Since I am an official, I'm actually not allowed to fight anymore
Okay.
in terms of boxing or MMA,
Mm-hmm.
because it would be a conflict of interest because of the
Mm-hmm.
licensing that goes into that.
Gotcha.
Um, and so, while technically I can still compete in jiu-jitsu, I really haven't had the time because
Mm-hmm.
I'm busy officiating, which is, again, I'm very fortunate that I get to
Mm-hmm.
stay that busy.
Right.
But it definitely, I mean, but it's still, even, like as a fan watching, the events and everything, it has definitely changed my perspective. And I know me doing it has changed others' perspectives as well. I've had people tell me, oh, I didn't, which is unfortunate, but I'm glad they changed their minds. I have had
Mm-hmm.
people say, oh, I didn't see the refs as humans until you,
Oh,
Oh wow.
which,
what the heck?
um, yeah. I'm like, well, I'm glad you changed your mind.
Yeah.
We are people.
Yeah.
Uh,
Holy cow.
So so then like throw on top of that, you're not only like in like obviously a male dominated sport, but
mhm,
like like there's a lot more male referees than female referees as well.
mhm,
We're just starting to
So
see
you were just
women.
like you're in all of these male dominated lanes. Do you
mhm.
feel like that also like plays a role in your experience with officiating and like people seeing you as human?
God.
Yeah, I mean yeah, I mean being a female official is, I think it does add another layer to it.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, when the criticism I get a lot of times has, some sexist tones to it versus criticism that other
Right.
officials, might get and everything. But I kind of knew going into it. But at the same time, though, I hope that people see me out there, other women. I have had other female fighters tell me that, when they're done fighting, they would like to get into officiating
Hmm.
because they saw me officiating. And
That's
Yeah.
it's one of those
cool.
where, like, they didn't consider that an option. And so
Hmm.
I think that's great. And so I hope that, you know, that others would see that as well, too.
Yeah.
Have you ever felt that you were underestimated as an officiator?
Yes. Yeah, yeah,
Can you
for
give us an
sure.
example, or is that too much?
Um, I mean, to be honest, I can't really think of a specific
Just in
example like
general.
right off the top of my head, but
Yeah.
yeah, there's, and there's, I've heard some whisperings and things like that
Right.
of some people maybe not wanting me in there
Mhm.
Ew.
because I'm a woman, but
Mhm. Yeah.
So how
um,
do you command the presence in the ring or the octagon without overcompensating?
I mean, it's just like, knowing like, hey, I kind of telling myself like I belong in here,
Yeah.
I know what I'm doing. Trusting yourself is a huge part of it.
Mhm.
Um, and I'll say even from when I first started officiating to now, like the self-confidence I have, both in and outside the ring. Like actually
Mhm.
it's helped me a lot even outside the ring in terms of feeling more confident,
Mhm.
having a lot more, trust in myself.
Mhm. Yeah, for sure. So what advice would you give other women who are, interested in entering all these male dominated lanes and fields?
I mean, if they're already training, they're already in a male-dominated field.
Mhm.
So it's
Mhm.
just, it's just another male-dominated field.
Yeah.
It's one of those like I would hope that they try not to, get intimidated by that part because if
Mhm.
you're already, doing jiu-jitsu or MMA or anything, like, hey, you're already in a
You're halfway
male-dominated
there.
Yes.
sport.
You got your foot
Yeah,
in the door.
exactly.
What
Yeah.
was more nerve-wracking or scary for you? Like your first fight or the first fight that you were in charge of officiating?
Uh, Probably officiating actually.
Yeah. Can you
Yeah.
elaborate on that a little bit?
I think it's just because of all I guess the decision making
Mhm.
Yeah.
that's going in. I mean, not that obviously there is decision making when you're fighting, um, but when you're fighting, it's more like this is about like it's all about me.
Mhm.
When
Hmm.
you're officiating, it's not about you, it's about the two fighters.
Mhm.
Right. It's a different
And then
lens.
yeah.
Interesting. So let's talk a little bit about judging. You judge also, and everybody thinks
Mhm.
they understand how fights are scored and what's going on all the time. But
Mhm.
myself included, nobody knows. So, so could you break down a little bit, like even just like say general sport of MMA? What are people consistently misunderstanding about judging?
Yeah, so I would say probably the thing I hear the most is people will I know people have heard the term, what they call like the 3Ds, damage, dominance, duration.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and people, I think the confusion is that those 3Ds are actually, when it comes to judging, those are used typically when we're debating to score a 10-9 versus a 10-8 round.
Ah,
Yes, because the actual criteria, and anyone can look this up through like ABC, the Unified Rules of MMA, and it'll list them out there and in more detail. Um, but like it's the criteria is really effective striking, effective grappling. That's weighed heavily first, and then there's another misconception is people will think that like cage control
yeah.
is a factor in scoring. Like someone was pressing forward more, and it's not that it isn't, but that criteria is only used when the other criteria is a tie.
Okay.
Oh.
Interesting.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
Um, so yeah, like I said, I recommend anybody, and I believe that I think coaches and fighters in particular should absolutely, at minimum, go look up the unified rules, like the ABC rules, and or most, I believe a lot of states will have like an officials training course, and at least I know here in Texas, I'm not sure about other states, but hopefully it's the same. Is that anybody can go to those, even though like yes, it's for referees and judges. Coaches are allowed to go, fighters are allowed to go. And
Oh, okay.
and I would recommend people do that because as a coach or a fighter, it would be really beneficial for you to know what is being taught to officials. What
Mhm.
are we
Right.
talking about? What is the criteria? So that way you can coach your fighter to that.
Mhm. What was the process of becoming a referee like? You have to get like certified. What is that
Yeah,
process?
yeah, so I did go take and not every state requires it. Some do, some don't, but it's very beneficial to do so. Is I did take a certification course through ABC,
Mhm.
um, it's usually like a 2-day thing, you know, 1 day for reffing, 1 day for judging.
Oh, wow.
Um, and there is an exam at the end for both. Um, so, you know, you go to the course and then take the exam, and you know, and if you pass, then apply for a license with your
Mhm.
state commission.
Okay.
And then depending on how the commission works, our commission here, you know, they had me shadow at first, and then after shadowing a few events, then they, you know, let me go live.
Awesome.
I like that. So when you get to go live, what makes the fight easy to score and what makes it a chaotic fight?
Um, I mean, you know, it's one of those where like the hard ones are it's those close fights where like, oh,
Mhm.
you know, a fighter, you know, the fighters are really like back and forth.
Mhm.
There was a
Yeah,
lot of, you know, like you know, maybe someone got hit but they answered back right away. You know, there's it's those really
the really good fights.
yeah, those really active fights. But on the other hand, also the really where there wasn't a whole lot going on fights can be
Yeah.
really hard to score too, because you're it's one of those where like as a judge, you know,
Yeah. I
you'd have
imagine
to
like a
really be like,
lot of,
okay, what happened in that round? You know,
yeah, a lot of wait and see doesn't really get you any points.
yeah.
So what do you actually prefer? Do you prefer being in the ring or do you prefer judging?
I prefer reffing,
Yeah.
and they do have me ref a lot more than judging right
Mm-hmm.
now.
Nice.
So I'm also used to reffing more, but I really like it.
Yeah.
It sounds so fun.
It really does sound fun.
Hmm.
I'm like,
Now,
I need a project.
I don't know, and we can cut this if you're not allowed to answer this or talk about it, but do you prefer reffing like women more than men or like do you have a favorite class to ref for or, you know, any favorites basically? Because I feel like
Can you
I would,
just tell us your
yeah,
favorite?
I feel like I would be most excited to go like referee for a couple like badass women. But I don't know.
I'll take the big
Yeah.
guys any
I'll
day.
take whoever, but I just think I'd be, yeah. So what is your preference? Do you have one?
I I'm gonna have to say off the record.
That's totally fine. Okay, yeah. We
We're
will
just not
cut
going to
that.
continue with this hot mess of a question.
Well, I really am curious, but okay.
Yeah, we can talk about
I'll
the
tell
record.
y'all,
Yeah,
but just you just have to cut it.
Oh yeah.
go for it.
If you got I do like I don't get to ref women very often, but when I
Hmm.
do, I enjoy. And my dream would actually be to be able to ref for Invicta someday.
Oh,
That would be so cool. Do you have to
yes.
like put in bids to try and get fights, or do they just contact you? How does that work?
Um, they would just and also don't include the Invicta part either.
Yeah,
Oh no,
no,
no, yeah,
no.
no, I won't.
We'll cut it until you say we can go back on the record.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. It's and I don't know how the other states work and everything. For us, we're just assigned. We
Okay.
don't get to request anything.
Okay.
Okay.
So.
That seems so much more fair though too, because if I'm out here being like, no, 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 I'm only judging Valerie's fights.
Be like sick.
They're like, that's actually not allowed. You're not allowed nowhere near her or judging.
Okay, so back to what we were talking about before.
Back to the business.
So, are you required to like recertify for your referee and judging stuff every so often, or are you just like good for life?
For us, no, not required, but I do.
Yeah.
Nice.
Every time there's a national conference every year, so I try to go to that. Um, or if there's a course, you know, within the state, then I'll
Mm-hmm.
travel to do that. So, yeah, pretty much every year I essentially try to recertify.
Yeah.
Nice.
Do you ever watch back the fights that you ref? And
Yeah.
do you feel like you ever criticize yourself, or are you like,
Use it for
yeah,
training.
Yeah, I mean, it's one of those where, you know, we always want to, you know, learn,
mhm,
grow, things like that. So, you know, it's good to watch back sometimes. You know, the other thing too, though, that we have to keep in mind is that, like the camera angle is very different than the angle when we're
mhm.
in there.
Yeah.
So,
I notice like watching live fights, I'm always like, how the hell do you even see what's going on in here? Because I need an over the top view, not a view from the front row. It doesn't work. Okay, so going back, we're going to talk a little bit about your personal growth. So, compared to who you were when you first stepped on into the ring boxing, who are you today? Is there anything that's softened about who you are or sharpened who Danielle is?
I mean, I would say my confidence has grown a lot over the past few years. Um, yeah, just I mean, inside the gym, outside the gym,
Yeah.
I guess like the confidence, resilience, things like that and everything. So I think that would be the biggest change.
Yeah. What do you feel like white belt Danielle and like beginning boxer Danielle, what do you think that she would say to you today?
Oh, oh man, that's a tough question.
Or what do you feel like she'd be most surprised by?
Um, Probably surprised that I'm officiating.
Yeah.
Um, uh, because it was one of those things that it wasn't like I was like, hey, this is what I'm gonna do someday. I was, just very fortunate, like I said, that my since my professor's involved in it, that he, opened that door for me and helped me
Hmm.
out with that. But so probably surprised at that. I don't know. I mean, I don't think. I think since I've been in martial arts involved in some way almost my whole life, I'm not surprised that I'm still training.
Hmm.
Right.
Um, and then I kind of always knew that again, competing for me was just more to help my coaching down the road.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
now getting to coach.
I feel always say that I like coaching better than competing. Like I did it, it's fine. It doesn't do anything for me, but like the coaching aspect of it gives so much more to me. Do you think that reffing is in the same lines as coaching for you or judging?
In terms of what?
As far as like, sorry,
Sorry.
like what the satisfaction is and like the hold on, let me rephrase that question. Because I got lost because the open slide is on at the gym and I'm
Oh,
supposed to turn it off.
sorry.
Oh, I'm so fired today. Okay. Do you think that there is similar benefits to reffing and judging as there are to coaching somebody in a competitive situation?
Um, yeah, I mean, kind of like I was saying earlier with that, getting to essentially be on the inside when it comes
Yeah.
to, getting to officiate. So knowing what I'm looking for as an official, or what others are looking for as
Hmm.
well, can definitely, benefit from a coaching standpoint and
Yeah.
everything. Um, and then, I think again, just the having that trust in myself. So then being able to, trust myself as a coach too, and knowing, am I communicating the right thing to my
Mhm.
fighter, to my
Hmm.
competitor?
Right, right, right.
At what point in your jujitsu journey and just your martial arts, combat sports in general, when did you start coaching and teaching?
So I mean, I was instructing back at my Taekwondo school, back up
Okay.
in Indiana. So once I moved down here, I'd already had some teaching experience. Um, but to be honest, I can't really pinpoint exactly when I started coaching at my current gym because I feel like it was just kind of a natural progression. Someday your professor's like, "Hey, why don't you help me out with this class?" And
Yeah.
and then it just kind
They
of
kind
goes
of
from
trick you
there.
into it.
And next thing you know, you have
Yes.
your own class that you're running.
You're like, wait, how did this happen?
Yeah.
Like,
Like, what
wait,
did we get here?
this is some real trickery.
And it's free? No.
How did I end up here? It's fine.
Oh, man. Excellent. Okay, how about, let's see.
Can you tell us a little bit about life outside of
Yes.
training and outside of reffing? And if you just had to remove the martial arts part of your life, what is life like for you?
I mean, it's pretty boring to be honest. Um, So, I have my regular day job. It's just I work for a bank.
Mhm.
I'm a bank manager, and so, just a regular 9 to 5. And
Mhm.
then I go to the gym, and I'm usually not home. My fiance and I, he trains also. He's but at a different gym.
Mhm.
Oh wow.
So we get home usually not until like 9 o'clock at night. We eat
Mhm.
dinner. We go to bed. It's a pretty boring life. I mean, I love it, but
Did you guys
sometimes
meet through martial arts?
we did. So our gyms would run this tournament together,
Mm-hmm.
and so we both had to help referee the tournament and everything, and
Mm-hmm.
so we met through there. And he's a professional Muay Thai fighter, a
Wow.
personal trainer, and nutritionist. Mhm.
Oh,
Awesome.
geez.
Wow,
You got
that's
the
a good
full
partner to have.
package.
Yeah.
You're like, great. This saves me a lot of money too.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes it's the hardest to listen to your own partner,
Oh
though. So
God, yeah,
how's that
no.
dynamic? If is he ever trying to like coach you or, do do stuff that makes you want to punch him? I'd feel like, don't fucking tell me what to do. That's how I would be with my husband.
So we're actually pretty good because of the fact that he has trained some jiu-jitsu. He's a blue belt.
Nice.
And so what we would do is that we'll sometimes trade lessons. So he'll
That's so
give me like a
fun.
Muay Thai private lesson, and then I will give him a jiu-jitsu private lesson.
That's
So
very
we both get
cool.
to be like the instructor
Mm-hmm.
and the student.
Yes.
So I think that's really helped. But we've had times too where I'm like, let's glove up and box. And I mean, he's like 6'2" and a lot bigger than me, and I'm 125 pounds. But so and
Yes.
don't know how I expected that to go, but I'm like, let's do it.
That is so fun though. So you said that you guys train at different gyms. Do you guys ever cross train
Mhm.
and go to each other's gyms?
Once in a while.
Mm-hmm.
Nice.
He's come down to my gym to cross train, and then I haven't really cross trained at his gym, but we live a lot closer to his gym. So like if
Gotcha.
he and I are gonna train, a lot of times we just we'll go to his gym to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. That sounds super fun.
That's so cool. I love to hear the love stories on the
I
mat.
know. I'm always like, how did everybody meet?
And you said you guys are engaged now?
Yeah. Mhm.
Oh, do we have wedding plans?
Yes, we are. We're gonna be eloping in Vegas later this year.
That's so
Yes. Wait, is it
exciting.
going to be for like around a jujitsu con event? Or
No, I don't. At least I don't think so. It's gonna be at the very end of August.
oh, nice.
Awesome.
So.
All right, so
Well,
when we meet you in July, you will be nearly getting ready to get
nearly
married.
married.
Yes,
Wow,
it'll.
what a thing to do like right before. That's not that far out from a wedding to be like, I'm also going to do this camp.
Yes, it's a big year for me.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that sounds exciting though.
S- So tell us a little bit about more about how you got involved in the camp and what are you most excited about looking towards that?
Yeah, so I've been going to role model camp since white belt. So I mean, what 11 or 12, this will be my 11th or 12th year.
Oh my
Wow.
God.
Yeah. And I've been going every
So
year, and
fun.
it's it is such a great camp, and it's one of those events where it's like I make it a priority every
Yeah,
year. The second that she announces the dates for the next year, I'm like, okay, blocking my calendar.
Mm-hmm.
that's so fun.
I'm gonna go. So getting to teach this year is it, I'm very excited. I'm incredibly honored. I'm nervous already, but
So this will be your
uh,
first time teaching at Role Model Camp.
yes,
That
yeah.
is exciting. Oh, it must be such like a kind of a full circle moment, like starting to going to these camps as a white belt and now here you are 11 years later coaching at one of these
Ye-
seminars. How
Yeah, and
how
it's
is it
crazy to
yeah,
think about.
how has it been like watching this camp grow over the years?
It's been amazing because the first time I went, it was at AJ's gym. I think probably around like 50 women.
Oh
Mhm.
wow.
And so then watching, her have to go to, a bigger space and then a bigger space,
Mhm.
now it's in, this awesome hotel, and this huge, it's like a huge ballroom with,
That's
the mats like across the entire room, and to
Ah,
see all that has been amazing.
Yeah, I'm just so excited
I
to
can't
be
wait.
in a room with like that many jujitsu women. It's like it's gonna be so special. I'm so excited. I've
Yes,
never had
yes.
this experience, so
And it's so fun because there's women that I only see at this camp, and so it's so cool, like year after year, like it's like a reunion, but then also watching people progress. So
Oh, yeah.
like, oh, hey, last time I saw you, you were purple belt, now you're brown belt. That's amazing. Or now you're a
yeah.
black belt, and getting to and watching the amount of female black belts in the gym, in the camp grow is also
Mhm.
really cool to
That's
see.
very cool.
That is so amazing. I feel like I have like goosebumps just thinking about that experience and watching that growth over the years.
Hmm.
Because now it's what, like 250 women?
That's what
Like,
she
Hmm.
said. Yes.
Yeah,
so how
yeah.
did how did you feel when they asked you to coach?
I mean, it was an immediate yes.
Hmm.
And then of course there's a little bit because they bring in, some big names, and they've had such amazing instructors in the past and everything, that there's a little bit of like, oh man, am I gonna live up to
Like
Yes.
live up
imposter
to anything?
syndrome.
The pressure's on,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
Oh, I'm sure
yes.
you're going to be
But I'm
so
excited
great.
about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it is. I'm really, really excited. We
Yeah.
cannot wait to be out there. And I've never been to Indiana, or I've never
Same.
spent time there.
No,
So
I've never been.
yeah, so that'll be super exciting. So what do you have any plans upcoming to do any other like seminars, or do you have any competitions, or what's coming up for you in your life other than this camp and getting married this year?
Yeah, minor
Just
minor
casual,
things, no big
casual.
deal.
Yeah, just like a few things. Honestly, no, not a lot. It's just, I'm just going to continue training. I'm working on my lesson plan for
Hmm.
for camp, and so,
So cool.
workshopping that in my gym. I'll
Hmm.
probably
Yes.
run maybe like a mini seminar before, to kind of, run through what I'm going to teach at camp and everything.
Hmm.
So the girls at my gym, they'll get a sneak preview.
Oh, that's
Nice.
fun.
They are
Yeah.
lucky.
Special.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. Well, we've loved chatting with you, and we usually like to end on like a rapid fire. If you're down for that.
Yeah.
But before we get into that, is there anything else that you wanted to plug or let
Share
people
with
know or
us.
share with us?
I mean, no, other than just, if you're on the fence about coming to camp, I mean, do it. Like, I don't know, I haven't heard of a single person that has gone to camp and has said, like, and has regretted it.
Hmm.
Right, right.
Um, and I brought some women from my gym, and and they want to come back year after year, which is great. And I mean, so sometimes life gets in the way. Maybe you can't, but they still express like, oh, I want to go back. I want to go back. So I
Yeah.
would absolutely say that, if you're not sure, do it.
Hmm.
We're excited. We can't wait to meet everybody out there and meet you and check out the camp. So, yeah, please, you guys, get your tickets. Come see everybody.
Yes, it's going to be amazing. So, all right, well, let's get into our rapid fire. So, try not to overthink it.
Like everybody
Good,
does,
like
because we're about to
everybody,
meet
yeah,
you.
everybody does. All right, so some of the we might have covered this one a little bit, but gi or no gi?
Gee,
What boxing gloves or MMA gloves?
Oh,
boxing,
Stand up game or ground game?
ground game.
What is your favorite submission?
Right now is scissor choke.
Ooh, nice. What about your least favorite submission to get stuck in?
Ooh, to get stuck in.
scissor choke.
Yeah.
I'm like, can you please teach that at the camp? I will love that.
So I might throw that one in there.
Hey, girl.
At camp and everything. I could say that, yeah, because when you're like, oh, don't get me with my own move.
That's what I tell people too.
What do you feel like is the most chaotic thing that you've ever witnessed in a fight?
Oh, I'm gonna be honest. I don't know if I can answer that one in a rapid fire. I'd have
Oh,
to. There's
that's
been
totally fair.
a lot of chaotic moments.
She's like, they're actually fights, so
Yeah, yeah.
it's chaos.
What is your proudest moment in your jujitsu career?
Probably getting my black belt.
Yeah. What was the hardest belt to get through?
Blue. I had a lot of. I've had 3 shoulder surgeries, and they all
Oh shit,
happened
man.
during blue belt. So
Wow. That's
Yeah, that does suck. I'm so
like,
sorry.
nah,
Oh.
nobody wants that.
um, what is your go-to routine like prior to a fight?
mm, well, it's been a while since I've actually fought. So
Okay, we'll skip that one.
mm,
We'll say, what would be your go-to post-fight meal or post like really hard training session
There you go.
meal?
yes, that one would be. There's this Szechuan restaurant here in Houston, and they have this one particular. The name doesn't sound appetizing, but it's so good. It's their water boiled beef, which I think does not sound good at all, but it's so good. I crave it all the time.
I mean, I'll eat it.
Sounds good to me.
I like Szechuan food. Is it spicy?
Yes.
Yes.
If
Yeah,
you if
spicy, lots of flavor.
It does sound good. If you weren't doing any martial arts, what sport do you think that you'd be doing?
Ooh. Uh, oh, I know this is rapid fire, but oh my gosh, I'm
That's
blanking.
okay.
What would I do?
I really I don't make my rapid fires super easy,
I
so
know,
it's
she makes
usually
it like
not.
elaborative
It's
rapid
usually
fire.
not
I'm
very
gonna
rapid.
say
It's
I'll
all
go with
fine.
running.
Running.
Nice.
Yes, I'm gonna go with that because in high school, uh, the track coach, like I was going to wrestling practice,
Uh
and she saw me and she was like, "Hey, like run real quick," and I went to, and she's like, "You've got great form. You should be on our team." And I was like, "Well, I'm going to wrestling practice, so thanks."
huh. Sorry.
You're like, I run a lot more in wrestling than I do in track anyway.
Oh, that is so funny. What? Ooh, sorry. I'm so sorry.
She's verklempt.
Whew. Okay, if you had a super fight tomorrow, what would your walkout song be?
Probably a song, "Cold Blood" by I think it's Dave Not Dave, and
Okay.
that was my walkout song for my MMA fight. So.
Nice.
Nice.
Okay, I don't know if I know that
We'll
one,
find
so
it.
we'll have to look that one up. Um, so one last question that we ask everybody is if your best friend had to describe you in 3 words, what would those 3 words be?
This is where everyone gets tripped up.
Mm-hmm.
I hope one of them would be funny.
Mm-hmm.
And then probably resilient. And oh gosh, what would the third one be? I'll just say confident because I know I've said that a lot throughout the night.
Yeah.
So
Yes.
for
No,
now.
I like that.
Those are great. And you are funny. I think you're funny.
Oh, you know
Well,
what
thank you.
I thought of earlier, that I didn't ask, but it just came back into my brain. But since you work in banking, are your coworkers are people surprised when they find out that you're like this fighter, jujitsu black belt? Are people surprised about learning that about you?
Yes.
Eh,
Because at work, I'm in like a dress or
Right.
a suit, and I'm a small woman, and so yeah, they're very surprised.
Yeah, I would imagine
I love it.
yeah, I work in healthcare and I just I'm always in my scrubs and you know, people are usually surprised when they find out that you're
Yeah.
doing combat sports in
Yeah.
certain fields. So yeah, I've that is really interesting. I feel like I would be surprised too if I just saw you, at the bank in your banking clothes and
Making
then
financial decisions for people.
Oh, that is cool though.
Oh man.
All right, that wasn't one of my rapid fire questions, but it was just a random. It was a random thought that I had that I forgot to ask earlier. But
It's an important
anyways,
thought though, and we did need to know.
so where can people find you? Where can people come train with you?
Yeah, so I'm out of it's technically, I mean, I say Houston, but really it's Stafford, Texas, just outside of Houston at Texas Third Coast MMA is where I train out of.
Mhm.
And then on socials, mostly Instagram, be Danny G in a Gee
I love that.
is my
It's so
handle.
cute. Perfect. And we can catch you July 10th through 12th in Indianapolis, Indiana at the Role Models Camp.
Yes.
Yes.
We are so excited for that.
Everybody go to that site right now and use our code CHOKE50.
To get $50 off camp, and we will start working on an epic 250 woman bachelorette party for you in July.
Yes.
I'll make sure to bring my white gi.
Yes,
Do
you have
it.
to. You're gonna have to do a whole day of rolling in a veil.
Oh my gosh. This is the best idea ever.
It's gonna be Shark Tank. It's gonna be a rough day for you.
She's like, I hate you, but I'll wear the veil.
I know it sounds terrible, but also I'm on board.
Yeah,
Yeah, right?
we're definitely gonna make something fun happen to celebrate. So,
Yes.
oh,
All right, Danielle.
well, thank you so much for your time. We really appreciate it, and we really cannot wait to meet you and train with you.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. I
Yeah.
appreciate it.
Thanks
All
for
right.
talking.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.